Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophia, pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue to unpack some classical China characters. Shu is today's commoner concept. Um, well, we have a talk about people in Chinese meant people who cannot see, whose eyes are covered. It's kind of sad when viewing from human rights perspective. It's like these people are lesser because they are less informed. Therefore, they are less likely to defend for their own rights in today's standard. So shu is commoner. So how Chinese express that? Would that still be sad? Sad to hear? All right. So it's actually related to cooking. It's food. Um, I grew up in China, and I got an impression when compared with people from outside China that Chinese people actually paid a lot of attention about dining, eating, having good food. So eating is a huge part in Chinese culture. We so here in this case even express commoner as people who just make fire and cook. Um, from the visual, okay, simplified traditional, they look the same. Again, this probably is sufficient enough to express the meaning, but it's concise enough that you don't need to further simplify. Versus 2,000 years ago's dictionary got the fire icon still spelled out as a fire versus contemporary, the two versions, it become four dots. For me, a long time, Chinese students learning about my own native tongue. And one teacher explained, I mean, first off, nobody really bothered to go any further than what's printed on the textbook. So one teacher said this four dots means fire. It's hard to understand. It's hard to visualize why this four, because we know fire looks like this and how this is this. Like looks totally different, right? But I guess the common denominator between the two ways of expressing fire is it takes four strokes, left, right, and then the middle one, left and right stroke, instead of touching, to form this cone shape, which is mimicking a fire's bonfire's main body versus the two are sparkles on the side. So we just write them out separately so that it's easier for four dots. That's it. Um, so for the longest time, I always thought this is related to water because water is a three strokes like that. So instead of just adding one stroke, it's like more water, right? I somehow always retained in my memory that this is related to water, not fire. So until now, things clear. This is fire, and the rest of the icons here, we have top left corner, half frame with a chimney on top. So that is, I guess, open kitchen. You can regard it as such that ever since the beginning, human transit from caveman age, right? So we don't no longer rely on nature to provide a natural habitat, a housing. We were able to build things. So with this framework. So this is kind of weatherproof, right? It's a type of shelter, but because it's cooking lots of smokes, it's totally different from today's controlled fire with vacuum. I mean, the range, right? With the fans to control the smoke. So both smoke and fire in today's solution, we almost have a clean kitchen scenario so that we can have a fully enclosed space to cook. Ancient times probably is not that clean, and there's a lot of messy work. Until my parents' generation, I can still remember before we have natural gas, um, it takes a lot of efforts to make a fire, to make something burn in the stove, and definitely lots of smoke. So that requires half of this shelter is open to the outside. So in my word, it's like open kitchen. So we can cook, but still have good ventilation so that the cook will not be buried or suffocated by smoke. All right. So we have fire, we have half like open kitchen space, and then this looks like a pot, isn't it? This look like a cook pot. So it makes total visual sense, almost spatially. You have this kitchen area halfway open to the outside, and you make a fire, and you have the pot sitting on top of that. Ideally, it'll be that easy, but the top here means 20. 20 is a little bit abstract because 20 comes from 10. And 10 comes from roping technology. And roping technology looks like a cross symbol. So vertical line, horizontal line intersect. That makes number 10. It's nothing to do with crucifixion or cross. Simply is a Chinese, this vertical thing is a rope. And then we intersect, kind of indicate over there, there's a knot. And that is knotting technology to signify, okay, your neighbor borrowed from you 10, whatever currency denominator back then. So two of these crosses next to each other, and until sometime in the history, somebody connected the bottom to make it look more unified. So it's connected in one stroke. I guess then you can draw from here to here, right? Instead of here two stroke, you can finish in one stroke. So that's Chinese 20. 20 fires under this half roof thing. And that is Chinese commoners. And I would have to imagine in ancient times when the commoner means there is a little bit of bloodline lineage knowledge here. Shu basically means it's not your official wife. It's not your, I guess, the existence of marriage back then was to have generational wealth pass from your generation to the next in a controlled way. So when two kids marry, family wealth got redistributed somehow, right? And in this marriage system, you not only marry that person, you marry that person's wealth with it. So shu would mean within this marriage, there are people who came, I guess, either came later or came not as the original match. That's not just match person to person, not interpersonal. It's interfamilial or inter asset group, let's say, two families, two wealth groupings. And then the shu would be people who you marry with who doesn't hold the same legal status to bring in as much wealth, and they are regarded as commoner. They don't have the special status as the husband wife one-on-one wealth roughly equal status, but it is way lesser, and therefore it's more commoner. In terms of the royal family, it will be, the king and the queen, right, and then a bunch of concubines, and all the concubines would be regarded as commoner. Okay, so commoner, this 20 fires. So in ancient times, 20 probably is lots. It's our 10 fingers and 10 toes add up together. That's our, I guess, conceptually still graspable still tangible numbers, the max of that number. So that means lots of fire under that one roof. And probably because in a very hierarchical society, commoners, people who came in with lesser wealth or lesser legal status, they would have like a big kitchen, eat, cook together with lots of people, and they are simply common. They are probably the majority of the population, but they don't have that special status. All right, shu mean, so I translated it as common people. Mean, again, political term. Shu is probably heritage or lineage term. Fu shu, rich commoner. This is the best scenario. That means even if a shu doesn't have okay, so mean is more like a mean to the ruler, right? Everybody else probably regarded as mean, and there's a ruling apparatus. But shu is more within that family tree. there is the main branch. It's like the trunk of the tree. And then all the branches out, they are the commoners. And usually the family wealth will be cross generation passed down the trunk. That's the main traffic of your wealth, so to speak. If you have commoners rich, that means this is really a rich piece of land. Even the commoners who are not the main branch, which is the trunk, got a rich status. So 富庶 really means rich, rich. We have the society always, there is, the richer, the poorer. But if even the supposedly on the poorer, the skinnier branch ones got rich, then that means your baseline of the society is raised. Everybody almost like rich. So that's 富庶. That's a term to describe almost like a utopian world that even commoners are rich. Okay, 树物 树. Okay, because it's 20 fires under a half dome shelter, that means many commoners. The more common, the more numerous. That's easy to understand, right? And it also expressed by the 20 fires burning, like this open kitchen thing. Many families are building fires and cooking over there. And so that shows that's numerous and there's many of them. And the wu simply means task. So this is probably from the a minister's point of view. Like there's just many cases I have to handle. All right, so here's a street view. I believe this is somewhere in Taiwan. And all these are, I mean, blend in, and we don't really know who has a special status. So from this lens, everybody is a commoner. We are all 庶民. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. See you next.